Hi, my name is Kevin Frechette. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Fairmarkit. Asked to do this tips and tricks around tail spend management, as we've been around for about 4 years, and our core focus is helping with TSM strategies for companies all over the globe. In terms of the tips and tricks, when I really thought about what were the main ones that would be good for people to know, not just about tail spend management, about how to put together a plan and how to execute against it to be successful in year 1 all the way through year 5 plus. So the core aspects that we really pulled together were: 1, establish the business goals; 2, create the plan; 3, make sure you have the people, processes, and platforms to execute against it; and then 4, measure, communicate, and then grow that plan and that initiative, just so it's not static in year 1 and then gets forgotten about. So if we're going to start with the first one, it's establish business goals. Every customer is different, and actually everyone in different roles within that company is different as well. What we typically see as different KPIs that are put in place for these initiatives, one would be turnaround time. It's really to make sure that you have a strong NPS with your end user. So the time from when that rec's created to when the purchase is made, that's a big part of the process of what we want to help to shrink. Also could be turnaround time of the actual bid, the sourcing event. The next one, which everyone's going to have in some capacity, is cost savings. Really making sure that we're showing incremental value to the business for helping to drive prices down across a large number of purchases. The third one's the operational savings. For a fast-growing tech company, this could be allowing the organization to make more purchases with the same or the existing team. Or if a company is really trying to button down and get more value out of the existing team, it's how can we do more with less, and how can we align our people to strategic initiatives. A couple other ones that come into play typically are supplier rationalization. It could be percentage of addressable spend influenced. That one's a little tougher sometimes if you don't have a good way to track it. And then the final one, which we're super passionate about at Fairmarkit, is diverse vendor inclusion, making sure that they're not just identified, but they're included, and then they're awarded the spend. So that's establishing the goals. Once you have that, it's really around creating the plan. And the easiest way to do that is first to say, where are we? What's the baseline? So how to do that for most customers, they do an analysis of their spend. They do it by category. They look by geo, by spend size, whether it's sole source or single source. They look at what procure-to-pay does it go through, or what organization touches it. And then what we typically work with customers on, and for any tail spend management project, is how do we start to create waves? Because it's very difficult to go from 0 to 100 in year 1. But it's really important to have that plan to say, how do we get to where we want to in 5 years? Typically what customers do is they make their spend chart and they say, let's measure it by 2 things. 1, the complexity and risk of the purchase. And then 2, the impact sourcing could have on it. So for a lot of organizations, you're going to start with the areas that are the least complex, the least risk, but the highest impact. And that will be wave 1. That might be your year 1 or your first 6 months. And then as you get past that first initial phase, then you start to move into phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. But we've really learned that if you don't have that 5-year roadmap, it's very difficult to show the business what the big picture is for having a tail spend management strategy. So that's creating the plan. Next, and probably the hardest part for most organizations, is how do you actually execute against it? And that's where that people process platform really comes into play. So A, you need to make sure you have people that are capable of adopting a new technology, a new process, and then not just understand the KPIs, but they understand the why behind it. Why is this important to the business? Next, you need to make sure that the process is very clearly coordinated and you get buy-in from multiple teams from the change management process. Like any procurement rollout, and I think the Hackett Group says that 30% of all procurement rollouts fail or have to be reinstalled. And a lot of times it's because the change management isn't in place and there's not the buy-in across the organization. Finally, you do need to have the platforms to support it. The platforms to not just get you there day 1 of one static assessment, but to make sure that throughout that year, and as you expand out to year 2, 3, 4, 5, you do have a strategy and a platform that allows you to help to automate it. So you're not adding headcount as you want to get more value out of your TSM strategy. The final one is measure, communicate, and grow. Procurement has a spotlight right now. Given everything that's happened in 2020, they truly are in a position to be a trusted partner to the business, but they have to step into that spotlight. So one way to do that is not just measure what are the results of an initiative like this, but then really project that and communicate it to the executives, to the rest of the business, and use it as a massive opportunity to expand out the value and the touch that procurement has. So as an action item from this, we do have a webinar coming up in January where we're talking about tail spend management. We also included a link to our blog. It's called The Source Below. Once again, we're a tail spend management company. We'd be eager and excited to talk to you, and we're really looking forward to the webinar coming up soon. Thanks for the time. Have a great rest of your day.